Okay, I think we are good to go. Hi everybody. Hopefully you can hear me and everything is going the way it's supposed to. I'm SableDragonRook. You can call me Sable, and this is going to be a run of Playdead's Inside. Same people who made Limbo. So if you're into spooky games, this is definitely something that you would enjoy. Timing is going to start as soon as I hit the X button to get rid of this title screen. So I'll give you a countdown. We're going to start time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So once again, hello. First things first, I'm sure you've all noticed Morty in the top left-hand corner. Morty is my blue tongue lizard. He is always my stream cam, so he is joining me today since I don't have a face cam. And this is the all deaths category of Inside. So the goal here is basically, the people who made this game put a lot of effort into putting a lot of different animations into the game, and so we are going to be triggering each of the game's unique death animations once. Hopefully only once, because any more than that and we're kind of, wasting time, but we're going to make sure to appreciate all of the love and hard work that went into this game. So, for example, the first thing we're going to do is get caught by this guard. And so that counts as one death, even though you'll actually find that a little less than half of the time the boy doesn't actually die, he just kind of gets caught. But now that we've triggered that death, we don't need to do it again, so we're gonna hide from that guy this time. This is definitely a very ambient sort of game. It's all about the atmosphere, So there are some sections where I think the sound design is particularly good, and I might kind of shut up for a little while so that you can hear it. So one of the nice things about this run is that, for the most part, you're not really limited on where you can take these deaths. So if you happen to miss it, or you forget, like, oops, I need to do such and such a thing for this run, you usually have a chance to do it again. Like, getting caught by a guard I can do basically anywhere. So the strategy basically becomes, where can I get this the fastest and be closest to a checkpoint? This is going to be caught by a dog. There will be a couple deaths that you can only get in one place. Those are usually pretty challenging anyway. This one is particularly challenging, but it looks like we're good to go. This is pushed by a dog. This is the only place in the game where you can get that. And I'm actually hesitating and walking backwards in the water because for the first second or so after the boy starts going forward in the water, he walks a lot faster. So if I keep going backwards and forwards, I'll be able to go through the water faster than if I just kept going forward. The other thing that's kind of important to know is you'll see me be doing these bunny hops throughout the run. It's a very, very small difference. Something like 1.2 times faster than walking, if you do it right. But when the boy stumbles, like that, he'll start his running animation, which is actually a lot faster. We'll take shot here. So whenever he stumbles like that, I'm gonna let him do that for sure. Otherwise, I'm gonna be doing these bunny hops, which are timed a little bit differently than just, hopping as soon as you hit the ground. That's actually slower. So we'll hide from this guy this time. We've already gotten what we need from him. That stumble that I just triggered there is also quite good. For a little bit, the boy walks a bit faster, so if we can ever drop from a high place and make him stumble like that, that's kind of ideal. know where this guy following me decided to go. He was like right on my tail and then he just vanished, but I'm not gonna complain. So as an example, I could have chosen to take shot there, but for some reason they aim just about as good as stormtroopers in that particular spot, so it takes quite a while to get hit. Can also take it here, but the checkpoint is kind of far back at this point, so getting shot or drowning at that particular spot is kind of not ideal because you go back further than you need to. There are better spots later. So we got some pigs on the ground. We're kind of entering into a little farm area. There's going to be some chickens as well. So first order of business, I gotta gather up my chicken friends here. They're wandering through the corn, and I gotta say, hey chickens, come be my buddy. Come make a little gaggle of friends around me, because I need them to solve a puzzle for me. And by for me, I mean with me, and by with me, I mean I'm so sorry chickens for what I'm about to do. You're too cute for this. Alright, so I've got all my chicken friends. I've got their attention. They're following me. I just need to get them through this door of the barn. So I'll go on without them. And then just hop down here and let them in. In the meantime, while they find their way in, you might know where this is going if you've seen this game before. I'm gonna start this thing up. Hi, buddies. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna suck them into this machine here. They're fine. They're fine. See? They're coming and running back at me. They're fine. I just needed to kind of shoot them up at that hay bale. So still on this farm, now we've got a big old cart of pigs. And you might notice that these pigs kind of have worms growing out of them. If you were still in the Halloween mood, this is the sort of spooky game that might fulfill that craving. These creepy worms are going to be an important part of what we do next. Alright, so we got more pigs with more worms. And now this guy's awake. I do need to take a death from him. However, I don't want to do it here, because this is not a very favorable checkpoint, so I am going to get as close to this door as possible so that he slams into the door. And now I can take tackled by a pig. The door was the checkpoint, so that will kind of save us from having to go any further than we have to. In the meantime, he is still very angry. Alright, let me grab this worm and yank it right off of his butt. After that, he's not angry anymore. It was just the worm, I guess, that was making him upset. So with his help, I'm going to be able to reach this tool. This is certainly not the last time we're going to see this. This helmet lets me control any of these guys in the background that are I don't know, I don't necessarily want to call them zombies, but you know, these worker type people. And they will do what I do. So as long as I'm in the helmet, they imitate my movements, which is how we're going to be solving a bunch of puzzles. You'll also notice that as we progress toward this factory, if you could call it that, this big wall up here, we've got this line of people. They're going to be with us essentially for the rest of the game. And we'll keep an eye on their adventures and misadventures as we go. But enjoy this last little bit of sky, because we are not going to see any more of it. Once we go inside this building, we just basically don't come out again. It's a very large building. So this is one of the kind of weirder deaths in the all-death run. We've got to set it up so that we can get up above, but there was a safe up there. Visually, the death is basically going to look the same as fall from a great height, which just means, like, fall really far. But it is a little bit different. It is going to be heart attack from a falling safe. And we could technically take, you know, fall from a great height also while we're here, but I am not going to. So literally all I have to do is just go over here, push this down to break the hole in the floor, and then as it goes, get on it, stay on it. So the reason that I'm not taking fall from a great height, even though that's basically the same thing and it's right here, is because, honestly, one of the nice things about this run is that as you try to get other deaths that are much harder, sometimes you mess up. And so if I happen to be trying to do, you know, crushed by a horizontal door, which is coming up and is very hard, I might accidentally get fall from a great height. So we don't want to take any extra time, you know, to get it if we might get it accidentally. And in fact, we probably will get it accidentally. So these guys aren't quite lined up right. I have to walk them against the wall before they'll be perfectly spaced to stand on these buttons. I personally would argue that there's an additional death here. The deaths are basically, you know, determined by the community. You play through the game, and you figure out, you know, what is unique, what is not. Down between one of these buildings, if I choose to fail and, like, fall in between the buildings, I'll actually fall down into a shopping cart and scare a cat, and it runs down the street. I think that that's a unique death animation, but currently the community doesn't accept that as one of the deaths. So, for now, we don't do it, and it's considered kind of more of an Easter egg. I'm gonna pretend that I meant to, like, just walk off of that ledge, and not that I nearly fell to my death on accident. You'll probably hear me yanking my controller around for these wooden doors. On PC, this is a bit easier to open these up because, you know, you're just alternating keystrokes as opposed to using the joystick. There will be a couple strats that are a bit harder to do on console, and I am playing on a PS4. Alright, I'm gonna turn this on and get zapped by a sentry light. That's gonna be the next death that we need. Now that that's open, I can solve the puzzle as intended. If I had turned the light on again, I wouldn't have enough time to open the door once I got over there. So we just turned the light on just because the checkpoint is, you know, right here. Get zapped, solve the puzzle, and then we're on our way. Cool. Morty is asleep, I see. Always this line of people in the background. And you may have noticed that the people in this world either don't have faces, which you'll see here as I stand in this line, or if they are the people that appear to kind of be, you know, running this facility, they all wear masks. Even the babies that they carry, like, in their arms, and the children, all of them wear masks. So there's basically two groups of people. There's these mindless people, which I'm kind of trying to imitate so that I don't get caught. And there's the people who run the facility, who have masks. So obviously this camera is watching me. It's, you know, making sure that I'm not a rogue outlier among this line of people. So I have to do what the people do. I do need to take a death from getting zapped by this light, but now is not a good time. The checkpoint is pretty far behind me, so for now I just need to blend in and make sure that, you know, it doesn't really notice me. But as you can see, they all have masks, even that woman holding a baby back there. The baby has a mask too. And you can, you know, for clarity's sake, you can kind of wiggle and get a little bit further, like this. But for the sake of the marathon, I'm not going to do that. That's very risky. You can see that the camera started to blink like it was starting to notice me. The purpose of doing it in a speedrun is if you wiggle every time you have the opportunity to, there's one less cycle of being inside these boxes. You'll be just outside this final box. But the checkpoint is really, really not favorable. So like I said, for the sake of a marathon, no wiggling for me. Alright, and now we've passed the checkpoint, so I'll get that sentry gun's attention and get zapped. It counts as a different death because it's a different type of sentry gun than the one that we turned on previously. I just got that dog's attention so that I had a little bit more time, you know, to run over here. This begins what I would argue is one of two of the hardest deaths in the all deaths run. We only have one opportunity to do this, so we must do it now. Unlike many of the other deaths where, you know, you make a mistake or you forget about it, you can get it later. This is the only opportunity we're gonna have to get this. And the timing for it is super, super tight, so I would not expect to get it on the first try. That would be hype if we did, but... First I have to solve a little puzzle. I need to mind control this guy to mind control this guy to go over here and open the door. And then once I don't need him, I'll just hop down and hop back up so that I'm only controlling the one guy now, and the other one won't step off of the button. Okay, so here we go. Let's see how many tries this takes. We are going to try crushed by a horizontal door. Very, very challenging death. No way! First try? Nice. I cannot believe that was first try. Yeah, I'll take that. I fully expected to be there for like 3 minutes, so... So part of the reason, like I said earlier, that I didn't take, you know, fall from a great height and things like that, is because if you miss that, you tend to land on the door or smack your head on the door. And that counts as fall from a great height. And I can also take drowning here, if I would like, so that I can turn that failure to get horizontal door into a death that I still need every time that I fail. And so that's why I haven't taken some of those other deaths. Thankfully, we got that on the first try, so I can now take these other deaths, like drowning and falling from a great height, at their most advantageous places. The places where we'll waste the least time. What a troll. Sometimes this water just comes down super fast and there's like really no particular reason why. Alright, are you happy now? Can I just get up to this ledge? Thanks. So you can see up above there's a light passing over, and it'll leave here in a second. That will be yet another sentry light that we need to get zapped by. Morty, dude. You're a little close to the camera, my friend. Alright, so in an effort to kind of do this in the most efficient way, I'm gonna try to one cycle this lever over here, which is very hard on console. And I think just that little hesitation there is gonna mean that it's not gonna work. But, again, worst case scenario, we're gonna get the death anyway. It did work. So now I'm gonna go over here and get zapped by a spotlight, because standing in that cage was a checkpoint. And so we're good to go. Little decisions like that are kind of what characterize this run, right? Like, you can try to one cycle something, and if you fail, you still get the death, so it's worth it to try. And then you just get the death at a later point if you do happen to succeed. Ooh, that was close. My ankle was nearly my undoing. I took a risky jump there to try to land as far down the chain as I could. Again, worth trying because I haven't gotten fall from a great height yet, so had I failed, we still would have needed that death anyway. But since I didn't fail, that means that basically I now will get to take fall from a great height at the optimal place. which really only happens when all the other strats actually work. So it's been a while since I've been able to do this. Dive? What are you doing, little boy? Okay, well, you know, we got caught by the dog. For some reason, he was just like, nah, you know, I don't feel like diving. This dog is my friend, I'm sure. And that was patently false. I could tell right away that the boy just, like, didn't go under, and I knew that I was doomed. I'm gonna try to 2-cycle this as well. Also hard on console because of, you know, using joysticks instead of buttons, but we'll see here. Ooh, I don't necessarily like it. We'll see. Took a while to get that first one off. I don't know. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, no, no, no. I'm not gonna do it. I can't risk it for the biscuit this time. It takes a long time to solve this puzzle again if you fail, so 3-cycling is faster than being greedy with a 2-cycle. I probably could have made it last time, but it would have been very close. So this is the ideal location for Fall from a Great Height. Because the checkpoint is right at the top of the ladder. You jump, you basically lose no distance, and then you just progress like normal. I have no idea how these guys don't see me. Like, from the player's perspective, I'm behind a box, but from their perspective, I'm literally just standing there staring at them. The animal on the camera is a blue-tongued skink. He's my pet lizard. His name is Morty. Well, technically his name is Artorias, after the Dark Souls dude. But he's a little too goofy to be an Artorias, so he's Morty. Got a couple puzzles to solve with this little yellow submarine. Knowing when to boost like that is the most important part of doing this section. You can only boost every, you know, couple seconds. So you need to make sure that you save it for exactly when you need it and not before, so that you don't waste time. I blew up a piece of this wall so that I could get through, and now I just need to solve this puzzle to get my sub through so that we can progress. So next death will be right up above where we currently are. And this will be crushed by rolling barrels. mean, you have to appreciate the effort that the people who made this play did, you know, put in to have all of these different things that could happen, right? Some of which, quite honestly, most players, 99% of players, are never gonna see. I mean, there's gonna be a death later on where we literally have to, like, break how the game thinks about itself in order to even trigger it, so... I mean, they put a lot of effort in to things that probably were never gonna get seen. Okay, so we've made it to the spot where we can finally progress with our favorite yellow sub. We've opened the door, and now we'll be able to go on. You probably saw something in the front of the screen there. Welcome to the underwater parts of Inside. Couldn't you do falling block then? No. The reason that we do falling block at the end of the game is because falling block, crushed by a falling block is the death that we're talking about here, only works because you can trick the game into moving you sort of further back into the depth of field. And in order to do that, you need 2 boxes, not just 1. It will make more sense when we get to it later. It, I would say, is the other kind of really hard death in this run, because the game isn't supposed to work that way. As basically a side-scroller, you are supposed to be right just on like one plane of existence. You're not supposed to go forward and back into the scene. But that's what we're going to need to do in order to make that death work. And here she is, our beloved water girl, who... Please stay away from me. Oh, I'm not ready. Nope, nope. Go away. Go away, you creepy, creepy, wonderful little person. I need her to go away, like, just for a hot second so that I can trigger the checkpoint. And now, now we're fine. So now we can get depressurized sub as the next death that we need. She doesn't like the light, obviously, so I can use that to my advantage to get away from her. I am not... Well, I'm gonna kinda. Okay. I was gonna say I'm not gonna do the risky strat, but I tried. I tried a little bit. You can skim the sub across the bottom of that door to close the door as you come through. However, if you miss even a little bit and you hit it with too much of the sub, you'll stall out. You'll be unable to move and you'll be unable to turn your light, which means that she just will catch you. So it's very risky to try to do that, you know, just for the sake of getting through the door a little bit faster, when the alternative is you get maunched again by the water girl. So we are now entering essentially the longest single segment of the game, as far as, you know, thematically and puzzle-wise. This is the longest puzzle. The good news is, we're gonna get joined by quite a few friends. Some of them are over there, and I'm not quite equipped to free them yet. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to turn on power to this part of the factory, plant, warehouse, whatever it is that I'm in. So we've got 19 up there as our goal number. That refers to the pressure plate that was over on the right-hand side. We need 19 people to stand on it. And so the entire kind of scope of this puzzle is rounding up a bunch of buddies to help me stand on the platform. You may begin to hear a quiet thumping in the background, and you'll see these lights flicker every now and then. There is something on the other side of this wall that I am very excited about. It's my favorite part of the game. And we're getting little hints of it as we solve this puzzle, which is phenomenal world building, and Playdead is an amazing studio. And to be clear, for those who weren't aware, Playdead made Inside and Limbo. They're kind of thematically similar, you know, spooky horror game with a child protagonist type of thing. In the same vein, right, as Little Nightmares and those sorts of things. So if this game intrigues you, you might also enjoy Limbo. Alright, so once again, we've got one of these mind control things. This time, we're going to take it with us, because it broke off from its, you know, port up there. As long as I have this helmet on, my bunny hopping is going to change. It's going to be a lot faster. I still need to be careful to cycle it correctly, or else I'm going to lose time on the movement. And let's see here. Close. This one is very hard to line up. I'm sure you can see what I'm trying to do here, right? Momentum is kind of a weird thing in this game. And the tip of this is a very small point to hit. But, you know, the checkpoint is right in front of it, so... There we go. That would be impaled on a spike. Obviously. That is also the only place you can get that, so we did need to make sure to do it there. So I've got some of my friends with me. I'm gonna need a lot more before I can activate that pressure plate. They'll catch up, I'm sure. So another benefit of having my friends here with me is that they can help me solve puzzles that I can't because I'm small. I'm just a little kid, so I'm not strong enough to pull this by myself, but together we can do it pretty easily. So I'm gonna set this up to use it again in just a minute. And normally for a marathon I would do this a little bit differently, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit risky. We'll do this the more favorable way instead of the safer way. If you rip this panel off, by the way, that wood plank down there by where the yellow cord is, you will just be greeted by a dog who is very, very angry that it was stuck behind that plank for the entire time. Little things like that are what make this game just a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna be cheeky and stop this thing from flying so far into the air by blocking it as it comes up so that I don't have to wait as long for it to, like, fall back down. The lizard cam is not automated. I control the lizard cam by emulating a phone app. And Morty knows it. he knows it. He knows when I'm speedrunning, and so he wanders around endlessly, and as soon as I stop, he's like, I guess I'm gonna go to sleep. Alright, gents, I need your help. Alright, we're gonna stick that there again. If you've been watching this run for the entire time, you're probably pretty aware of what we're trying to do here. No, let me down. Let me down. Oh, you little troll. So the boy grabbed the wall. That's kind of why this is a risky strat, which I talked about previously. The boy grabbed the wall. When these guys follow me, in order to follow me as closely as possible, they'll push that minecart out of the way. Which is what happened and why it wasn't underneath me when I wanted it to be. There we go. So this will, naturally, be crushed by a minecart. Which can only happen here. So my gang of friends is getting progressively bigger so that I can stand on that pressure plate. We're now done with the bottom part of this puzzle and we're going to move on to the top. Alright. Doesn't really matter which way I go, but I tend to try to go right first just because it's habit, and I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So we've got one fellow who just kicked up dust by falling through the ceiling here. He's asleep. He's fine. So he can just kind of go down there. We'll meet up with him later. And once again, I need all of my buddies' superior strength to help me push this. They're also fine, I'm sure. My buddies are resilient. They'll be okay. Alright, so we pushed that cage down. The purpose, of course, was to break the cage open using the force of the fall. So I've got a couple more friends here who are reacting to me because I have my mind control helmet on. And just a couple more to gather up, and then we will be ready to activate the pressure plate. I'm very glad that worked. For some reason, that's kind of been a thorn in my side lately. That minecart not going all the way, so that's nice. So the whole gang's here. We just gotta go back to the pressure plate and turn it on. And then that will lead us into my favorite section of the game. I think that it's very well made, both in level design and sound design. So I will probably be a little bit quieter during that section so that, well, number one, so that I can listen, because that's kind of important, but also just because it's very cool and atmospheric. Alright, here we go. And I am going to try to one-cycle this, which... oof. I decided not to risk it, if I'm being real. This is gonna be very close. Help! Okay, so this clock is a very challenging part of the speedrun. I'm going to basically guarantee that we get it this time. It's possible to do the stopping, climbing, and getting all the way over safely all in one go. I am not going to do that because I'm a scaredy cat. We do still need to take blasted by a shockwave though, so as soon as I trigger the next checkpoint, I'm going to do that. And the next checkpoint is going to be this. So we'll get blasted by a shockwave here because the rest of it actually went very well. And then we basically hope that we don't get blasted for the rest of the time that we're in here. It's gonna go without me. What a troll. What a troll! Alright. Very specific timing on this. I need to make sure that I go as soon as possible. As soon as I'm shielded behind this door, I need to get my momentum up as soon as I can. Very close. That was why you consider maybe not taking blasted by a shockwave earlier, because you know there's a chance that you're gonna not have it work out here. That's alright though. It was just a fraction of a second too late. We will actually stand here and make sure that it works. I love this section so much, I don't mind having to do it again. See, you'd think that something like the door, right, would be like its own thing. Just like falling down into the shopping cart. But, you know, I guess the community decided not to include things like that because then you're just kind of getting a ton of deaths that are very similar. But I agree that I think that it could be a contender to be added. Because it's kind of unique. It's not the same as getting blasted, right? Like, it's not the same as disintegrating to a sound wave. little bit of specific timing here. And, you know, the boy just kind of stops in midair. That's cool. Well, I think the argument to be had for Crushed by a Horizontal Door is it does have a very unique animation where he kind of scrabbles and claws at the door. There we go. That will be crushed by a vertical door. That's essentially the only opportunity we have to get that one. Technically, you have one further opportunity, but it's basically impossible, so... So down into the water we go. Back to the underwater sections of this game, which I am also quite a fan of. This death also kind of is one that kind of doesn't make sense to me. This is going to be landed on a flying jet box, which seems kind of just the same as Fall from a Great Height, but a little bit different, I suppose. Thankfully, it's easy enough to do that you basically never fail it. Alright, down into here we go, and once again, we encounter our favorite underwater terror. She terrifies me. I am genuinely afraid, and I want out of the water right now, please. Thank you. The water girl is like such a good piece of the atmosphere, you know? Alright, I'm gonna very specifically do this such that the boy's head goes up and over that platform before falling down to get caught by the water girl for the next death. Because the boy's head passing over that plane is what checkpoints. So we are now up here instead of having to do all of the rope puzzles again. And we're literally just going this high so that we can be as far away from her as possible once we land in the water. Okay, so I need to trick her to get her a little bit further away from me. There's a door on the right under the water, and she's too close currently. If I try to go through that door now, she's just gonna munch me. So I am going to trick her with just the tips of my little toesies. So that she goes a little bit further away. And that will give me just enough time to go underneath this door. This is another opportunity for Crushed by a Vertical Door if you didn't get it earlier. But I'm sure you can see why this is not necessarily a great place to do that. 9 times out of 10, the water girl is going to get you first. Alright, back down into the water. You know she's here, because of course she is. Once again, I'm going to have to trick her, and this section is essentially what sets the world record holder apart from the rest of the runners of this category. The world record holder has figured out a way to go down, hit this button to start opening the door, go back up, go back down, hit the button again, close the door, and get under the door before the water girl catches him. Which I have literally never been able to do. It's... I don't want to say frame perfect because really it's not, but it's extraordinarily tight in getting that to work, and that prevents you from having to do this cycle that I just did of tricking the water girl into leaving you the heck alone for 10 seconds. So that really is a big time saver. I'm gonna go just a smidge past this box. And we're gonna take Drowned here, because I am about to lose the opportunity. By going past the box, it actually pushed me a little bit forward when it checkpointed. So, of course, the water girl has me. This doesn't count as caught by the water girl because it's not the same animation that you would do any other time that she catches you. So you can't just use this as caught by the water girl. Yeah, Mort has cozied up in his little log. So the water girl grabbed this glowing device as we were falling down, plugged it into my chest or my stomach, somewhere in my general torso, and then now she's leaving. I guess that's all she wanted the entire time. Hi, fish friends! We had chicken friends, we had cow friends, or I'm sorry, pig friends. Did we have any other animal friends? Because now we have fish friends. So that's actually a great question. It doesn't count as drowned either. It does not count as drowned. And there's a very specific reason for that. Worm friends, yeah, sure.
Pardon me for interrupting.
Sure thing.
Do we have a minute to just talk about some upcoming incentives for the next game?
You bet.
Alright, too easy. So, the game after Inside, which I think I can speak for everyone's enjoying right now, especially the Mort can. Well, after that, we do have Resident Evil 2 coming up, and we have two bid wars on for that right now. So we have the skin choice and the category bid war. However, none have actually any donations put towards them at the moment, so if anyone wants to see any of those options put forward when the game is being run, now would be the perfect opportunity to do that. And just a quick refresher of the incentives we have. The first one is skin choice. We have a choice between 98, default, or Noi. I don't think I pronounced that right. Either way, going on to the category bid war, we have a decision between shotgun and shotgun-less. So if you'd like to see any one of those options made, now would be a great time to get your donations in.
Beautiful, thanks. We did actually reach the incentive for finishing this game, so we are going to continue after the timing for the speedrun would technically stop. So show some of that love to some of the other games too that haven't had their incentives met yet. The money goes to a great cause, of course.
Sounds good. We'll take what we have coming up. So the game after Resident Evil, we have Bloom. We have one bid more open for that, which is save or don't save the shepherd. So the options are are save or don't save. None of them have any money put towards them right now. However, that could easily change. The minimum donation amount is $1, so your dollar may be a difference between whether the shepherds are saved or not saved. So I encourage you all to consider putting any of your donations towards the upcoming war. We also to see some of these met.
So in the time that we were, learning about the upcoming runs in Bid Wars, we accomplished a couple things. The question earlier was, why doesn't the water girl dragging us down count as drowning? And the reason is because we don't drown. The boy from now on can just breathe underwater. So it is not drowning because the boy is fine. Also, I did bump up the host on my end a little bit. So hopefully that will be better. We took...
Is that better, everyone?
Yeah,
I'm trying to speak close to the microphone as well.
Yeah, let me know if we want host to be louder. I still have a ways to go as far as volume. But we have now also taken cut by a circular door and crushed by a turbine as well during this water puzzle.
Okay, that appears to have worked.
Nice.
Do we have just time for a couple more, talking about a few more incentives?
You bet, yeah.
No worries. So later on the marathon, we have Earthworm Jim HD and Crash Bandicoot 3 coming up. We have 3 open goals for that. Just bringing them up super quickly. So Earthworm Jim HD, we have 2 goals that are open right now. We have Play Advanced, quote-unquote, for Pete's sake, which is one of my favorite levels personally. And we also have a second one called Change Category to All Bosses. We are at $0 of $35 for both of them, so be sure to put your donation towards that incentive if you'd like to see that done. And just one more quick one, we also have Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped later on. The incentive for Play with SFX is currently open, and if we reach the $30 incentive goal, we will see the game played with sound effects. I think that's how the acronym said. I'm not too sure. But yep, those are the incentives that are open, and we still have a while before those one close.
Beautiful, and perfect timing, because we are now just coming to the other really hard death that I'm going to need some time to explain. So, the death that we are working for at the moment is crushed by a falling jet box. This one is one of the hardest in the run because, as you can see, this is kind of a side-scrolling type of game, which means that I exist... If we think about math, right, like the y-axis is up and down, and the x-axis is side to side, the z-axis is, like, depth, right? How close you are to the front of the screen, or the back. In order to get hit by a falling jet box, I need to move backwards toward the back of the scene. That's not really supposed to happen, in a game like this. You're not supposed to have any control over that. But we can kind of cheese it a little bit to move me further back into the scene so that the box lands on me. I don't know why they programmed this death, because no normal player would ever really be put in that situation, but here we are, I guess. So, in order to do that, what I am going to do is move this box next to the other one. So these boxes are behind me, right? That's why I'm standing in front of it. I'm going to grab this handle, which is going to put me on the same plane as the box that is in the back. Then I'm going to hop over and try to jump into that one as it falls. By jumping, I prevent the game from pushing me forward and out of the way of the box. And there we go. That was not bad, second try. And now we can solve the puzzle, as intended.
Sorry for interrupting. Now I was just going to say,
No
do
problem.
we have time for a couple donations?
Sure.
Too easy. So We have $10 from Kuno Demetrius, who says, IDK what the skin noir is, if I pronounced it right, but it's better than default, smiley face. Also, good luck on the run, Sable, and in parentheses, not Sable, where LE is L4E.
Thank you. And thank you for the donation.
We also have a $1 donation from Sporadic Erratic, who says, ain't no room in this marathon for unmet incentives. I completely
Do you use the ketchup in the McDonald's delivery bag or the fridge ketchup? Scholars are divided, but the...
We apologize for that. We've just got a minor technical issue. We're just refreshing the stream, and we'll be back to Inside very soon. I was very confused as to why I saw a ketchup bottle there, but turns out it was a Twitch ad. So we'll let that pass, and hopefully we'll be back on very soon. Okay, and with that, I've got word that we have rectified the stream, and we're ready to head back to Inside by SableDragonRook.
Okay. Hopefully we should be back once again. Let me give a countdown to start the timer again. We will start again in 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back. You didn't miss anything. I walked a couple steps forward from where I just was, just down a hallway. So, riveting. No biggie. And we are actually very close to the end of the run. The 120 estimate is pretty consistent. We're not going to come, too awful far either over or under that. But we did meet the incentive to finish the game, so we will hit the end of the run, and then timing will stop, but we're actually going to continue on, because the end of this game is a real treat. And it's definitely worth watching. I'm so glad that the incentive was met. If you have never seen the end of this game, highly recommend that you stick around until we make it there. So the whole reason that we need to, solve this puzzle the way that we do is just to move that box over. The door on the right will not open while the water is down low. So I just need the box to get me high enough into the water that I can get across the gap without having the door close. Like so. Okay, so we are approaching the end, slowly but surely. Well, I would like to think speedily, but surely. This is a speed run after all. We have one death left, I believe. Thinking ahead, we have one death left. And in order to prepare for that, once again, I'm going to need to round up my best buddies here, who are currently existing in this upside-down water world. So, to let them free, I've got to drain the water, which means drain the water upwards, because that makes sense. They're fine. They're fine. They're resilient. Except for that one who's kind of flopping around. Somebody is missing an arm, it appears. And maybe a thigh there. Just laying on the ground. Alright, so I've got my little group of friends here. Hopefully this works on the first try. Alright, let's hit this button as I pass by. Very nice. And I could always use more friends. Come on, Mr. Janitor. Alright, so this will be the final death of the run. That does not mean the run is over. Unfortunately, that one is called Thrown by Freaks. They're not freaks. They're my friends. So I prefer to call it Thrown by My Friendlies. Because see, they're here to catch me. They're my buddies. So that concludes the death animations that we need to get. But the rest of the run, honestly, is awesome. Like, if you've never seen this game before, you haven't seen anything yet. Definitely hang around. Alright, folks, I need your help. Come on. Not all of you, though. Just some of you. Good enough. Bye, everybody. I said they were my friends, and then I heartlessly left them behind. I mean, to be fair, they threw me because I asked them to, so whose fault is it really? So now you can see in the background these people, like, running. This entire game, you know, I've been pursued by the people who work in this factory, warehouse, whatever this thing is that we're in. They've been pursuing me. And if they see me, they catch me. And that's the way that it's been for the entire game. It's been avoid these guys and just, like, try to stay out of their hair and keep going. And now you'll see the cigarette is still smoking. This phone is hanging from the wall like it was dropped suddenly. These people that have been my enemy for the entire time no longer care. If they see me, they won't catch me. They won't even pay attention to me because something else has captured their attention. Also, this printer back here, if you're interested in contributing to a community, that printer prints out very specific little code of dots and dashes. And there's been a ton of work done on, you know, what it says and what possible strings can come out of that printer. And it does actually lead to a website that seems to allude that there's more to the puzzle. The Plated Inside Reddit has more information about that little Easter egg that nobody has quite been able to figure out. But yeah, all of these people who were previously concerned about catching me over anything else are now super concerned instead about what is inside this orb. Like, they can see me, and they don't care. So I myself am also going to head toward this orb. You can see that they've got quite a few of these machines that let them look inside. I'm going to use that to get to this ladder over here instead. And I don't really know what possesses the boy to think that this is a good place to go. Like, why would he think this is the way out? I don't know. But we're gonna hop down here and we're gonna turn this fan off because I need to hit that lever at the bottom, but the fan is too powerful. So I'm gonna unlock that thing, turn the fan off just for a minute so that I have just enough time to get down to that lever. Technically, you could take cut by a circular door here if you would like, but it is basically impossible. This is the circular door. You have one chance to get it. And if you miss it, you can't go back. So here we are. And here is the blob. This is what's inside the orb that they were looking at. And I am going to set him free, because that seems like a good idea. As I pull this third restraint from the blob, he's gonna grab me, and now I have become one with the giant squishy boy. I am this giant orb of people, and let's go wreak some havoc. Timer is still going, by the way. I understand that we're done with the deaths, but we're not to where time is yet. So there's a little bit of RNG involved as far as going fast when you're the blob. Kind of depending on which of your many legs are down, you might stumble a little bit more often. There's not really too much you can do about it. And I have to say this, every time I run this game, I have to say this. You cannot convince me that this guy would not be amazing as a stress ball. I would buy this if this was a stress ball so that I could squeeze it. Like, come on. Missed marketing opportunity. I need this box with me because I am far too wibbly wobbly to do some of this climbing that I'm gonna have to do by myself. So I'm gonna need the assistance of the box. Let's just chuck this over in the corner. So we are coming up on time. Timing will stop once I encounter basically the CEO of this company is inside this office up here, and I am just gonna kind of give him a bad time. I will call out time here probably in the next 10 seconds or so. Okay, so timing will stop now. As soon as he gets smooshed. So we've smooshed the CEO. Was that a thing that was good? I don't know, because I don't know what this company is trying to do. But they seem sort of nefarious, so I'm gonna pretend that that was some cosmic justice. Now, we did meet the incentive for playing through to the end of the game, so I am going to do that real quick. Because what's the fun in becoming a blob man and then not finding out what happens to the blob man? So this guy, there's a guy over in the corner who is, I suppose rightfully, absolutely terrified of me. And as long as I stand close to the door, he's not going to come in and punch in this code, so I need to kind of just hide back in the shadows, and he looks back like, oh god, it's looking at me. But he opens the door for me. It seems that I have lost a torso. I'm sure it's fine. And of course, since I have already met my donation incentive for this game, don't forget to take a look at some of the other incentives and bid wars that are still live, so that some of the runners coming up can have their bonus features played out as well. Plus the money goes to a good cause. So I need this box because in the place that I was just standing, there was a vent that was a fire hazard. So of course the first thing that I'm gonna do is try to set it on fire. So let's light it up, boys. Sprinklers are gonna come on, and I've got to do a little bit of juggling. I've got plenty of arms, so I'm sure it's fine. Alright, so this thing is super flammable. I'm gonna light that on fire, and that activates the emergency exits to help us get out of this building, which we've been in since the first, like, 10 minutes of the run. And as I come out the other side, you'll actually see that all of those turbine things are lit up red, so I totally think that I completely destroyed whatever the inside of this factory is. Sorry. If this were any percent, the timer would still be going. Timer for any percent stops a little bit later. Basically at the end of the game, so we are almost there. A couple more puzzles to solve. But you will see that these folks suddenly have a vested interest in getting me the heck out of here. Whether that's because, you know, this entire time they've been doing some experiment to see how smart I am, or, you know, whether they're just absolutely terrified of me and they want me gone, I'm not really sure. The nice thing about this game is that it doesn't really give you too many answers, and I like that. So this guy up on the platform is going to turn this on for me because I can't turn it on for myself. Despite having, you know, 60 arms. So they're basically just teasing me with this. You can never grab it. They just always put it right out of your reach. Presumably so they can trap you in this tank. I don't know why they thought that a padded tank would be able to hold the blob man, but It couldn't. And out we go. So our fish friends are back. I would like to think they still recognize me, even though I am now one with the blob. And so I am just booking it. I am trying to get out of here so desperately. And if this were any percent, timing would stop here in about the next 10 seconds. We are nearly there. I have just got to slam my way through the wall. And then we will be free. On and on we roll, and then right before we get to the water, we come to a stop. Now you can hear probably I'm trying to move and I simply can't. So this is the end of the game. The credits will pop up here in just a second. Whether, you know, the blob man didn't make it after that long fall, or, you know, something poetic about the blob being a good swimmer, but he's 5 inches from the water and he can't make it. You know, I'm not really sure what the developers are trying to tell us, but I like the ending regardless. And so here we are as a blob sitting in the sun, and maybe we're happy. So that was Inside All Deaths. Thank you everybody for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you Midwest Speedfest for having me. Always a pleasure. Don't forget to get those donations in for any upcoming bid wars and incentives that interest you. All goes to a good cause, and have a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is for you, everybody.